Hey guys, it's Dr.NostalgiaGamer here again. Today I'm going to be doing a game room video, actually. I'm going to be doing a video, it's going to be a multi-part series where I go through my game room and I show you guys the different collections that I have, different video game systems that I collect for consoles, toys, and posters and things like that I've collected over the years. And I'm just going to go through, I'm going to do it in parts to try and break it up because it is a pretty decent amount of stuff that I have in here. So I'm going to do a video to try and show off some of the stuff and go into a little bit more detail about what I have and what I don't have, the things that I collect for, some of my favorite things that I have, and things of that nature. So I'm excited for this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it and enjoy getting to see my collection. And I hope you guys enjoy that and be able to see the stuff that I have so that you get an idea of the things that I have and things that I don't have and things that I collect for and things like that. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
So this is the outside of it. I've got a couple of decorations, as you can see, and now we're going to go ahead and take a trip on inside, and we'll get to see what's going on inside the game room. Okay, and here we are inside the game room. So I'm just going to do a quick tour while I walk around and kind of show you guys some general parts of the game room, and I'm going to go into way more detail later when I do the more dissected version of the game room, where I go through individual parts of my collection and kind of talk about what I have and things of that nature. But I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm just going to start kind of walking around and showing you guys in general what I have. So over here is where I keep a lot of my more random stuff. I've got some literature for video games. I've got a lot of handheld stuff boxed and things like that. Just some random boxed items, and as you can see, lots of Guitar Hero guitars. And I've got a bookshelf here. This bookshelf mostly has newer console stuff on it. So I've got PS4, Xbox One, Wii U, PS3, Wii, and 360 stuff on it. And then the bottom shelf has got some boxed stuff on it. The top shelf is completely boxed items as well. This is the futon for the game room. As you can see, I've got some pillows and some stuff that I'll go into later that I have on there. This is the actual game shelf, which is obviously the coolest part of the game room. My game shelf is where I keep mostly older stuff. The newest stuff I have on the game room is a few Xbox 360 stuff, but for the most part the game room has mostly older stuff. You can see that the top row up there is my Xbox One, my PS4, and my Wii U box up there. The top shelf of the game room is NES stuff. The NES is actually my biggest collection. I'll just do a quick pan to show you guys some stuff that I have. As I said before, the NES is the biggest part of my collection. I believe I have like 130 games or something like that for it, so that's one of my biggest collections. Next up is the SNES. So you can see my stacks of stuff there. And just so you guys know, the way that I organize my game shelf, everybody does a little bit differently, but the way that I do it is by by value. So the stuff furthest to the left in most of these collections is the stuff that's the most valuable, and the stuff stacked the highest is usually the most valuable. So that's just how I do mine. Everybody does theirs a little bit different, but for me, that's how I do it. The next shelf is Nintendo 64 stuff, which is really hard to see because of the way that I have it stacked. But the way that I have everything set up, and the fact that N64 is the only freaking Nintendo game ever made or a Nintendo console game ever made that didn't have freaking end labels on them, so they were pretty and you could see what was on the games. It's hard to display them any other way than forward, so because of that I just stack mine up and down just for storage purposes. I got some boxed SNES stuff there, and I've got my Atari 2600 collection, which I believe is the second biggest collection I own. I think I've got just under 100 games in my 2600 collection. I really love the Atari. I think it's an awesome system. It's a really good system to collect for, too, because the games are, even nowadays, during this kind of hype in the video game market where people realize that video game stuff is worth stuff now, and people want to buy it, and people want to sell it for lots of money, it's still pretty cheap to buy this stuff. Some of the best games on the console that are really fun to play are, literally less than $10 for some of the best games, and you can get them at yard sales and flea markets for sometimes $1 a piece or cheaper, which is actually where a lot of mine came from. So, the next thing I have is Genesis, Sega Genesis stuff. So I've got that stuff organized here, as you can see. This is all my loose stuff. The other way I have my collection is typically I have a separated column between loose and complete, and then all that stuff in each column is separated based on how much it's worth. So this is all of my complete Genesis stuff. I'm just going to do a quick pan once again, kind of go through there and show you guys what I have, and then I'll go into more detail about each individual console and stuff like that later. So that's all the Genesis stuff. And then, so next up is going to be my Sega Saturn collection, which isn't very big, but it has gotten much bigger in the past week. I actually got, and I'm thinking about doing a haul video on that, but I just recently got a bunch of Sega Saturn stuff. I used to only have a couple of games, and now my collection's gone up by gone up by almost times 10 the size of my collection. So, and then I've got a little bit of Dreamcast stuff there on the side, and that continues down to the next shelf. But yeah, so that's Dreamcast. Saturn, sorry. Then on to the next shelf is the continuation of my Dreamcast stuff there. And then I've got my PlayStation 1 stuff, which is one of my bigger collections. PlayStation 1. I like PlayStation 1 because it's in that kind of sweet spot right now where it's worth money, but people don't really know that, and people don't really care. People aren't collecting for PlayStation 1 nearly as much as they are for some of the other stuff, so that's why I like PlayStation 1, because there's enough room there where you can get some good stuff and not have to spend too much money. And places like Goodwill and flea markets and stuff, you can still get them for pretty darn cheap. So next is going to be the PlayStation 2. So you can see this. PlayStation 2 is a decent sized system for me, so I'm just going to go through that really fast. Just a quick pan. My loose PlayStation 2 stuff. Then I got my GameCube stuff, which is pretty small. I wish I had more, but it's just stuff I don't find very often for cheap. Then I got my original Xbox collection, my Xbox 360 stuff, which then continues on back to that wooden shelf that I showed you guys before. So continuing, Xbox 360 stuff continues, my Wii stuff continues, PlayStation 3 stuff, decent sized collection there. That's one of the bigger collections that I have as well, is PlayStation 3, because I managed to get a lot of stuff really cheap at GameStop. So Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. So that's the game shelf. Alright, now I'm going to cover my Amiibo stuff. So I've got a decent number of Amiibo, despite the fact that I had at one point in my life said I was never going to own Amiibo because I thought they were stupid. I actually caved and ended up buying a couple, and then before you knew it, it became like an addiction, and I was buying them up. And mostly I buy the ones that are either number 1, valuable, or number 2, super cheap. Those are the times that I buy them, but I'm just going to do a quick pan. I'll go through my Amiibo in way more detail later, but for now I'm just going to do kind of a quick pan of what I have. Alright, and now, so this is going to be, these boxes here, the one with the green lid is where I store a lot of Nintendo accessories, specifically stuff for the NES. The 2 storage bins on top are where I keep extra AV cables and extra power cables for systems that I have. And then that top box is just sort of a junk box. So moving on, this is going to be my sort of display shelf for lots of random stuff, mostly Nintendo based. I'm going to do just a quick pan of the stuff that I have. I'm not going to go into extreme detail. Rob, got the Power Glove, I got a boxed NES action set, some collector's edition Amiibo, stuff like that. Next shelf, U-Force, some box stuff. Next shelf, mostly NES consoles, Genesis, and some decorative stuff. And then the bottom shelf has got some extra Atari stuff in there, as well as, this is where I keep all of my extra controllers. So this is where I keep controllers that I actually use when I play systems. Alright, so next up is this is sort of my junk box for large accessories. So every type of big accessory is what I keep in there. And then that styrofoam box is actually a complete in box Rob the Robot set, actually. Next up is my actual console shelf. So this is where I have all my consoles. I'm just going to quickly kind of pan over what I have, and I'll go into way more detail later about what I actually own. Decent number of stuff. I think I have 16 or 17 different consoles that I play, and these are the ones I actually use. These aren't just like random consoles. These are actually the ones that I use. And I'm going to go ahead and go over the other consoles I have too while I'm at it. Another quick pan here. 360 and Wii, PS3 on the floor, and that's a Hyperscan on the floor there. So next up is just going to be kind of a really quick scan of the way that I have my stuff wired and set up. This is my CRT TV that I use for most of my 8-bit gaming, 18-bit and 16-bit gaming. Anything above that tends to get played on my LCD screen I've got up there. That's a really nice outfit. They're both connected to all the systems, so I can stream live both on this, the CRT and the LCD at the same time, which is pretty cool. And then you can see my mess of cables down there and my VCR player and stuff like that. I'm just going to do a quick pan of that. I may or may not go into any detail about how I have stuff set up in the video, but I've got that's all that stuff. Next up is going to be sort of all of my other stuff that I have. So I've got some storage bins here. These are all filled with controllers and plug and plays and little small handhelds and stuff like that. That's where I keep all that stuff. Like I said, I'm just going to do a quick pan of all this stuff. This is my PC stuff that I have here. PC stuff and random things like that. And this is another sort of display shelf that I have, although I don't have it currently set up the best, as you can see, because I've got a couple rows that are missing items, but I'm planning to increase what I have on this stuff, so I'm going to just do a quick pan again for you guys so you can see in general the kind of stuff that I have. And then that's just a sort of a junk shelf, random stuff on the bottom there. And now, as a sort of last part of the quick overview video, I'm going to go through and just sort of show you guys a generalized 360 view of the room and show you all of the posters and stuff I have on the wall. That's what this part of the video is specifying, is just sort of all the posters I have. And like I said, I'm not going to go into any kind of crazy detail right now, because I will get back to you guys with that in a later video. So right now I'm just doing sort of a generalized pan of the room and the posters and stuff that I have, sort of the artwork and things. Alright. Yep, so I got a decent amount of posters, although I do hope to one day own a lot more. My favorite posters, obviously, are always the ones that are number 1 rare and number 2 old. Those are my favorite types of posters, are older ones, things that aren't easy to find, and things that are more rare and valuable are the things that I like to collect the most. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's the game room, and I hope you guys enjoyed the generalized overview video. I hope that you guys watch and you'll enjoy it, and I hope that I'll be able to create some videos soon where I go into more detail about the different parts of my collection, and I hope that you guys enjoy that, and I hope you get to enjoy seeing my stuff, and I hope that you guys will let me know what your game room looks like and give me an idea of the stuff that you've got and things like that. And I hope that, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time. This is Dr. NostalgiaGamer. See you next time.